Night Cast at UK Games Expo 2023. With me, as always, we have my co-host, Peter Ellison.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? This is Peter.
So, Pete, another year, another UK Games Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah, super busy yesterday.
Although, to be fair, we only met up last week, which is weird.
Yes, yeah. We're seeing too much of each other at the minute.
Yeah, we only do about once a year here at UK Games Expo.
Well, we did formats.
We did format last week.
And then we did this.
Yeah, which was experience.
Yeah. So yeah, UK Games Expo. Awesome to be back. One of my favorite conventions.
Absolutely.
I love this place. I actually preferring it today because it's not as busy. It was absolutely hammered yesterday.
It was claustrophobic.
Yeah, it was slightly claustrophobic yesterday, and it's not like super busy. And apologies for all the noise going on in the background. They've got some awards going on, so that's where all this cheering and stuff is going on.
And it's for us. It's just for us as well.
Yeah. I had a backpack, and I had a tripod, and I had a heavy camera, and everything. And so when you've got lots of people like filing around and knocking into you on a regular basis, it's not super enjoyable.
The irritation levels were there.
Yeah. It's just like trying to be cool about the situation.
It was. I mean, we were walking around today, and we were seeing things we hadn't seen the other day, just because it was that busy, and like crowds were obscuring the stands. And I mean, it wasn't so much the organisers' fault, other than in terms of placement, but it was just that busy.
Yeah. It was hammered. It was like I walked in today. You could tell it was slightly less busy, and there was like things I didn't see that yesterday. Because obviously there were so many people around that you couldn't see all the different booths and stuff. So we had a better sort of kind of walk around today. We got talking to a lot of people, and we had a different tack this time around. So last year we did a thing where we picked like 10 people and we did interviews, and it was really nice talking to them, but like people just weren't interested in the interviews. So you'll check them out on our YouTube. It's good interviews. It's just people weren't really sort of kind of engaging with them.
Also a lot of background noise there, and it was very short interviews, only about 10 minutes maximum, so you could grab the time with that person and then let them get back to their job. But
so we had a different sort of kind of game plan this time around. So we went around and we talked to loads of people. Pete has a wallet this thick full of cards that we've got. So we basically got a load of people coming on. We're going to try and get the guys from the War and Terror on. We're going to try and get the Gygaxes on.
Yeah, Luke and Gygax.
Yeah, his wife, who's really interesting.
Eddie Webb from Onyx Path is going to come on.
Eddie Webb. We had an awesome chat with him in the Witherspoons today. Massive Transformers fan. So that was
he knows the Transformers stuff.
We talked to the guys at Osprey. We talked to the guys at Rebellion. We talked to the guys at Modiphius. We talked to one of their lead. What was his job title?
Brand manager at Modiphius, Shep, and also runs Gaia Complex as well.
Yeah, so it's like an RPG that he's sort of going to do.
He's an RPG developer and brand manager for Modiphius. Completely separate jobs, but very much in the same industry.
Talk to the guys at Nightfall Games, which is a pleasure as always.
Absolutely.
Jared and Dave, who've been on the podcast before.
And they've got some fantastic stuff. I mean, their Stokerverse role-playing game is literally a work of art. They were talking us through how they created the parchment effect on the paper by literally using tea bags and just using that to stain the paper, scanning it in, and then using that as the background for the text. I mean, that is the level of detail these guys are going to. And actually brings me into one point I wanted to told you about, was that the art quality of role-playing games has really come to the fore now. And you can really tell here now, where before you could have like an A4 book with like just pages of text, now it needs to be pretty. It needs to be like artistically done.
Yeah, I said to you yesterday, it's like there's a lot of these sort of RPGs, and even the ones I've seen around today, and it's like I would happily just have them on my bookshelf, to look at.
Yeah.
Not even like if I don't, and I've got a lot of game systems. I play a lot of different types of games. So even if I didn't get a chance to sort of kind of play the game, just the fact that they got these beautiful pages, lovely art, something just to flick through and have a look at. So yeah.
That's something Free League do. Free League games, their approach has always been to approach game books as art books.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially the case with Tales from the Flood and Things from the Flood games. So Tales from the Loop, Things from the Flood games, which literally started out live as art books.
Yeah.
Then it became game, then it became a TV series, and then it became a role-playing game. And the quality of the art, it's beautiful. It's literally beautiful.
Yeah. It was really nice. I'm slightly mindful. I'm going to go behind the camera here from when I keep on talking there, Pete, just to make sure I press the button. I have pressed the button. I had this thought.
The paranoia is there.
I had that sort of thing. I was like, I'm on nearly 100% sure that I pressed the record button. But then when we were talking, it's like, did I?
Did I press that?
Did I press record? So this is like, and I'm kind of hoping the audio is going to be okay. Because there is a lot of clapping going on in the background. There's a lot of sort of kind of people chit chat, but hopefully,
yeah, there's a lot of background noise here.
with our lapel mics, they should be okay. Audio should hopefully be okay.
But it will be okay.
Yes. But yeah, they obviously Warhammer Games Workshop were here in force. They had this massive Terminator.
10 foot tall.
Yeah, easily massive. Obviously promoting 10th edition 40k.
Really? 10th edition 40k?
10th edition 40k,
wow.
yeah.
I've still got Rogue Trader.
Yeah, so they're out in force. Obviously you had Mantic here, you had a lot of the big names were here.
Yeah.
Lots of new stuff. It was good to sort of generally just walk around, and this is the one thing I like about UK Games Expo, is that there's a lot of independent games and stuff that sort of kind of you walk around and you don't see. Like you go to a convention, like if you were to go to MCM, and I don't mind MCM and stuff, but you see the same thing over and over and over again, and it gets a bit sort of boring. Whereas here, there's always change. Like you do have some of the same companies and stuff, but because games are always evolving, there's always different ones coming out.
I would also argue that given like the logistical nature of only having so much stock in a typical local board game shop, you see a lot more games that are coming out now. Where before you go to local games, like you see Warhammer, you see, Infinity, but here you see so many more different options that are out there. War and Terror, for example, just completed a successful Kickstarter now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's looking fantastic. Yes, so many fantastic games.
And one that I saw, there's a game called Kingmaker that I used to play as a kid with my father, like one of the first ever war games that I can remember, and I would have easily been 5-6 years old. And I remember sort of having, sort of like a family games day, and it was like, my mum would want to play Ludo or Snakes and Ladders or things like easy games, where my dad's like, no, bring out the war games and stuff. And so he brought out Kingmaker, and I just have these vivid memories of playing that game. And they've got a new edition of it, Kingmaker the Second, and they've got it. What was
Gibson Games.
Gibson Games, yeah. So they moved away because they used to do. So the lady was saying, so they used to do those sort of board games, but then moved into like jigsaw puzzles and things like that. And now they're trying to get back in.
They're digging back into their archives now and trying to wrote that out again. So seeing what else other options they have in their archives. Kind of like remake, new edition, and also it's not just a recreation of the game, but also a streamlining of the rules, an updating of the rules. Because like it's been 40 years since that game was released. And mechanically wise, gameplay wise, things have advanced a lot in that time. So kind of like bringing out that kind of fact that you could be stuck in Cornwall for about 8 hours.
That's my sort of game. It takes forever, it goes on forever. So I wasn't going to buy anything, but for the sake of for nostalgia, I have to. And they've got a deal, so it's £10 long. It's £10 cheaper if you buy it now.
So it's a deal. You get a good deal. I mean, I've got my eyes on Escape from the Dark Sector, which has that kind of real 1980s fighting fantasy pen and ink aesthetic. And it just looks so cool. Like, I remember playing those games. I still have a lot of fondness for those games. So I think Escape from the Dark Sector is going to be slip into my bag at some point.
I'm really mindful about the awards that are going on in the background with the on the tabletop guys. And we probably picked the worst place. The only reason we're here is sort of because it's quiet. Well, it was quieter.
It was quiet.
It was quieter here because obviously everywhere else is got like you're going to be in the way. So we thought, oh, we'll come to the back. You get a bit of a view here. And then as soon as we set up, they're like, we're having our awards, and I'm like, oh no, that's going to be awesome. So,
yeah, I mean, like the point of the aspect, like in context of the scale of UK Games Expo, this is just one hole.
Oh, yeah.
There's another two. On the other side.
Yeah, so you have so this hall here, you've got
two.
So you've got they've got like cosplayers at the back. You've got a bit of food. You've got the table on the tabletop guys over here who used to be Beasts of War, if you sort of kind of remember. And then you've got sort of more your independents and your sort of traders.
The family zone there for families. Yeah. It's like they're really inclusive here.
Then you've got your gaming center over here, which is like where all the tournament games are played.
That's in hall 1 on the other side.
X-Wing, you've got Armada.
Magic.
You've got a bit of everything going on.
Yeah, but a few war games. We've just got like the 40k tournament. And on that hall over there, you've got all the role-play games, the big names. You've got Modiphius, Free League, all that stuff. So much good stuff.
It's very hard. I have no doubt to say this every time we come to one of these. It's hard to come here with a wallet and not sort of go, ooh.
But there's a trick to that. You leave your credit card behind.
Yeah, I've been very good recently, just because I've been trying to sell. I'm trying to restrict the amount of games I've got. Because I am a bit of a board game magpie, so
you're a holder.
Yeah, so I'm just like I need to stop because I'm not playing any of these games. So I'm only recent Kingmaker. It's nostalgia. Even if I don't play it, it's something I played as a kid, and I feel like I can appreciate it and stuff. But yeah, I've tried my best. There are some beautiful games around and stuff, but I've restrained myself.
Remarkably.
I know I have. I've restrained myself. Yeah.
I mean, we got talking to Mark Naylor from Naylor Games, who's recently acquired Inside the Box and their IP following their various Kickstarter escapades where basically they bankrupted themselves. Yeah. It was a real mess. I'm going to say that as diplomatic as can. It became an absolute mess, and the game Inside the Box essentially folded, went bankrupt, went to the creditors, and they had a closed bidding process while they auctioned off the company. Mark Naylor and Naylor Games acquired the assets, and there's basically, essentially, almost a loot box of, right, what have we got? And so basically they're currently going through like the Google Drive and the full inventory of like what they have, what they don't have, and now basically working at how to get all the products that they have to the people that back the projects. And basically that's going to be at cost essentially. So basically the backers will be then approached saying, listen, do you want to pay for shipping? We're not making any profit on this. This is like goodwill. Like, no, pay the shipping, we'll send it to you, that's it, done. But then they'll be kind of, let's see where we can go from here. But yes.
I'm having a bit of a bad run of Kickstarter stuff at the minute, and it's generally tech. So there's a couple of tech ones that I've backed for like a GPS thing for my dog, which hasn't come through. Ooh. Apparently it's being delivered, but people are getting it and saying it's shit. Which, my experience, I'm just not going to buy tech from Kickstarter. I've got it's been be like a credit card sized SSD, 4 terabyte SSD. Yeah. And I was like, that sounds like a really good idea, especially for like, cameras, and it's got a Bluetooth thing and everything. I was like, again, that still hasn't come through. It's been years, and they just have gone. There's a there's a resin model called Moloch, which was done by, they used to be called, what were they called? I can't remember.
It's the names.
I'm gonna find them on my Kickstarter. I'll find them now. But basically, I backed it 350 quid ages ago. Yeah. Wow. They shipped like half of them to people. I didn't get mine. I thought, oh, mine will come eventually. And then they said, oh, we've had a problem with our the guys here do our resin. We're sorry, but if you want, we can give you your money back, or you can have something else. And I was like, yeah, I'll just, they've got some good models. I'll have something else. So I asked for like, what have you got? Nobody got back to me. Months later, nobody still. I messaged them again. Nobody got back to me. Months again, nobody got back to me. Regular sort of kind of what's going on, guys. And then I got a message on like Christmas Day, basically saying, oh, we're sorry, just give us a list. We've got some Green Stuff World stuff you can have, or all this thing, just let us know. And I said, well, I've got about 350 quid's worth of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into sort of like the Middle-earth strategy battle game at the minute. You do that from your shop, can I have some of that? And then their Facebook page disappeared, and nobody's heard from them since, and it's, yeah, I'm raging.
Not looking good.
That's a lot of money going down the drain. I'm raging. The annoying thing is they had some really beautiful models, and I've backed them for years. I've done their Kickstarters for years, and they just suddenly disappeared and have stopped replying to people, have messaged them. We understand that shit happens. We understand that these things happen, but this is different than like literally just going dark and yeah. So it's a lot of money to miss. And I am going to name and shame them now, but I'm just trying to find the thing, which is, here we go, Kickstarters. My many Kickstarters that are so we've got, attention.
We're really sorry.
30 minutes to do so.
You've got 30 minutes.
Not collected will not be posted out after the show. Thank you.
Wow, that is a really loud announcement.
That's one to make sure they got the announcement out.
That's definitely, you get announcements and it's like nobody can hear it. That's a very loud announcement.
And that's one you cannot.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident you heard that. All right, yes, so the one that didn't come through is, yes, it is Moloch. Yes, and it was by Tago Collectibles.
Oh.
And unfortunately, those gents, they're based in Italy. I backed loads of their models before. I've got loads of stuff, loved them, and they've just disappeared. And it's really upsetting.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
Absolutely. I mean,
it's a lot of money, and it's
I was raging. I mean, I backed Cryptex from Inside the Box Games 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they got increasingly obtuse updates. I said, yeah, it's coming, don't worry, it's coming. And then it's coming, and then it's coming. We promise you it's coming. Then I'm really sorry, but we are now in discussions with the creditors.
And that's one of those things you have to understand. And it's like, when you do a Kickstarter, you are not confirmed.
Nope.
You can not lose your money. It is, in theory, a gamble.
Yeah.
Because there's no Kickstarter don't have to, other than kind of try and get them to sort of provide the product for you. But if they say, sorry, we've got no money, we can't do it anymore, or something goes wrong, Kickstarter can't do anything about it.
No, because all you did was just essentially, you backed it. You didn't pay
purchase
for anything,
product.
you just backed it.
You backed it for them to bring it, and for backing it, they will give you the product.
Yeah.
And that's one of the sort of downsides of Kickstarter,
Very
which
much.
I've learned to my detriment. Again, tech, I would really warn off buying tech off Kickstarter, because I've had a drone off Kickstarter, which was definitely not what it turned out. One, it was late, and two, it was the shittest drone I've ever had in my life.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, tech for me, you never trust version 1.0.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, a Kickstarter project is essentially version 1. Or even version 0.9, to be fair. So yeah, never buy tech. I mean, I backed Vampire the Masquerade Chapters, the big narrative board game based on the world's Darkness and Vampire. And it took over 3 years to arrive. And I just went for the core box and I didn't go all in, because that was hundreds of pounds, which I don't have. But I backed it, thought, yeah, it sounds a really good idea. And the people that kind of backed all the additional stuff like the expansions and also the special metal dice, the metal dice were printed incorrectly. So you can't use it like the dice are only meant to have 5 anks on it. Like, so you give it a 50-50 pass rate for each dice. The metal dice came with 6 anks, making it the easy mode essentially. And yeah, that was the errata page for Vampire the Masquerade chapters, it's 3 sides of A4.
Oh man, yeah, it's a bit of it's can be a bit of a wild west,
Yeah.
and that's why I started to lean towards more established Kickstarters.
To be honest, I've even left off Kickstarter and said, you know what, especially for a board game, I'm going to wait until it's on the shelves.
The problem they get you, the Kickstarters, and this is where they get you, because there's always Kickstarter exclusives, and there's always things that you get just from the Kickstarter.
But I want to play the game. The core game. Now, if I would have to play the game, I have to buy the game plus the extras. Then the core game should be in and of itself playable and with a beginning, middle, and end, especially with narrative games. But when you got all the additional stuff, and why do you need that? What does that bring?
I don't know. It's like Cool Mini or Not are very good at it. When they do their Kickstarters, they you get the main game, but then you get these Kickstarter exclusives, and then you get extra minis and things like that. And for a person like me who loves having like shiny things, and there's like, ooh, all these extra shiny things, and I'm like, oh.
Well, but I mean, like, think about the latest Come On game, which was the Marvel game.
Yeah.
Where you had, like, one of the extras was a giant model of Galactus.
Yeah.
What did that mechanically? And
It's not about mechanics, Pete. It's about having the big thing. It's about
Yeah, it's not
having
mechanics,
it's having a Galactus. You're just like, woo, it's awesome.
so what?
Yeah. What do you mean so what? It's a shiny thing. It's a beautiful thing.
This is where we differ.
You were talking about metal dice. Why you can just get normal plastic dice?
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't get the metal dice.
Yeah,
Why
I'm about to say,
bother?
but it's just like it's just a thing, and if it's free, or at least
Oh,
it's
no,
not going to
it
be free.
wasn't free.
I know, but at least if it's something extra that you can get that you wouldn't get in the shop, then it's a unique selling point. It's a USP.
USP, but it has no tangible mechanical point to the
Well, it
game.
could be. You could put rules towards it again, I guess.
Really?
You could do. Well, I backed a game called Joan of Arc, which again Mythic Games, yeah, and Mythic Games are a bit of a clusterfuck when it comes to their games. They do some really good games, but they always seem to fall out with the game designers and stuff. So they've done all these games which they don't have the rights to anymore because something's happened down the line, and it's a shame because like Joan of Arc was an amazing looking game, had a lot of models. I was talking about scale. It's got smaller scale guys. It's got this massive dragon. It's got all these beautiful models. Mechanics are really good as well. And they fell out with the guy who designed it, I think, or something happened. And basically, I got everything bar. Like you were meant to get some additional material for the rules and stuff.
Yeah.
And you were meant to get an RPG with it and these other things, and I didn't get any of that because they couldn't sell it anymore. And they've done that, but there's been a couple of games where similar things have
Now,
happened.
there's also, this will come to like unlimited IP. I mean, the Big Trouble in Little China game.
Right.
I love Big Trouble in Little China. It's one of my favourite films, first film I ever owned. And there's a board game in it, and I was very tempted by it because it is apparently a very good game. But because of the limited IP, they didn't get the rights for in perpetuity. They just had about a year's license.
Right.
And then now they can't make any more.
Right.
And now the game's going for £200 for a board game. Not because the game is that good, but because limited stock, high demand, and people are willing to pay £200 for a board game. I mean, there's one game, Evil Genius Games, where they had like their Everyday Hero system, and then it had kind of like sort of franchise expansion. So you had The Crow, you had Pacific Rim expansion.
Is that what we were talking to those guys? You were talking to those guys earlier. They've got all those sort of kind of games from the different.
Different cinematic universes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what happens when that license runs out? Because it will.
Yeah.
Because they've got a short-term license to make a game based on that license. So what happens when it runs out? It's a ball, and that's why I prefer games with their own universe.
Yeah.
Where then you can continue to expand. I mean, classic example is Tannhauser.
Right.
Where that was kind of very much steampunk commandos versus Third Reich zombies.
Right.
It doesn't need an existing franchise because it was just so iconic idea. And you could expand it out with the various expansions and new characters and new settings, and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah. But yeah, there's lots of like we talked. There's loads of people with the RPG books and stuff. Like I would say, there's probably more RPG books around than there was probably board games and stuff.
And I mean, again, looking back at the not Free League, Nightfall Games, where they had their own IP. They had Slay Industries, but also like some really gorgeous books, like set in like prehistoric man. You have another one set in the 1930s.
Yeah.
You got the Stokerverse book.
No, I do like the Terminator one. Looks good. He showed me through some of the pages and stuff.
And that, unfortunately, ladies and gents, is where the audio for the podcast stops. We spend the entire thing fighting with the background noise and the announcer, and then when it all dies down, the audio stops for unknown reasons. But c'est la vie, that's what happens when you have technology. Shit happens. But yeah, me and Pete just talk a bit more about Nightfall Games, about the beautiful artwork, a bit more about Kickstarters, and then go on about all the amazing guests that we're potentially going to have on the podcast, based on all the cards and nice gaming type people we talk to at UK Games Expo. So keep an eye out for that. We've definitely got a long list of developers and interesting peeps to come on to the show in the next year. So please make sure that you subscribe and download and do everything you can to listen to our podcast. But for that, I've been Matt Geary. With me was Peter Ray Allison. This was the Geek Pridecast, and we'll catch you all later. Bye bye.